Doctor Who, a show that has been going on since the 1960s with 871 episodes. Some stories are told throughout many episodes, some are told throughout whole Doctor's run, and some stories have even gone missing. But no matter what, the fans are passionate and stick with the show no matter how weird the storyline gets. The show began in 1963 with William Hartnell playing the Doctor, and then regenerated into Patrick Troughton in 1966. The trend of regeneration continued throughout the show, with the show getting up to the 7th Doctor in 1987 before the show was put on hiatus in 1989. The fans waited until 1996 to see the Doctor on screen again, when the Doctor Who movie came out with the 8th Doctor, played by Paul McGann, at the head of the film. But due to poor reviews, nothing happened after this film. Until, in 2003, it was announced that Doctor Who would be returning to people's screens, and in early 2004, it was announced that Christopher Eccleston will be playing the 9th Doctor. And so, the first episode of the new series, Rose, was released on the 26th of March 2005, and the show has been running ever since. Stephen Moffat is one of the many writers on Doctor Who, and was also the showrunner from 2010 to 2017. He also wrote other shows, both during and after Doctor Who, such as Sherlock and Inside Man. But he didn't start out here, as he studied at the University of Glasgow and got a Master of Arts degree in English. Moffat went on to write many shows, with his first big show being Press Gang, which began in 1989. Moffat continued on writing for many other shows before writing a comedy sketch about Doctor Who called The Curse of Fatal Death, which follows the basics of a Doctor Who episode and pokes fun at many of the things the show does, such as time travel. In 2003, Moffat was offered to write for the new series, and as he had been a fan since childhood, he said yes, and went on to write episodes such as The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, The Girl in the Fireplace, Blink, and Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, which in my opinion is the best Doctor Who story. Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead was a part of the 4th series of Doctor Who, which had the 10th Doctor and Donna leading the show. These 2 episodes follow a story where the Doctor and Donna go to a planet-sized library in the 51st century, as the Doctor is called there by a message sent to his psychic paper from an unknown person who is revealed to be the character of River Song. The idea of this story first came up when Stephen Moffat was asked to write another episode for Series 2, as his episodes from Series 1 were such a success. Moffat came up with the idea of a planet-sized library filled with stone statues that have gateways to other places. This didn't end up happening, although aspects are seen throughout his following stories, as you see the gateways in The Girl in the Fireplace, the stone statues in Blink, and finally the library in Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Stephen Moffat uses many different themes in the stories he tells, but the main ones tend to be romance, the Doctor's real name, and the consequences of time travel with its resulting paradoxes. Most of Moffat's episodes only cover 1 or 2 of these themes, but this story covers all 3 of them, although it may not be obvious on the first watch-through. The episode reveals that River Song knows the Doctor's real name, which surprises him as he doesn't tell anyone his name, proving how important she is to him. The theme of romance is one that you can see in Donna's storyline as she gets married and has kids with a guy named Lee, but is also shown through the relationship between the Doctor and River, as even though at this stage you don't know that they are married, it is hinted at in the episode, as Lux says,
"And you're just squabbling like an old married couple,"
which does bring up the idea in the Doctor's mind as he looks surprised at the suggestion. There are a lot of paradoxes within these episodes, such as the Doctor starting to snap his fingers to open the TARDIS doors, as he finds out about it from River, who only knew about it because his future self did it. River Song is introduced in these 2 episodes, and is one of the main reasons I love the story so much. It becomes clear to the audience that she knows the Doctor, but in his future. With a character from the Doctor's future being introduced to Doctor Who, she sets up a pathway for the show to go after 10th Doctor regenerates and Russell T Davies stops being showrunner and Stephen Moffat takes over. Throughout the episodes, we hear of many adventures River and the Doctor have together, such as the crash of Byzantium, Picnic at Asgard, and Beryllium, which in some cases we eventually see on the show, and the audience can see all of the things Stephen Moffat foreshadowed from her very first episode. Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead establishes her character and her relationship to the Doctor, which is especially seen in the scene when River talks to Anita, mentioning how this Doctor isn't her Doctor, and how she has seen whole armies just turn and run away from him. There is development of River's character in this story, as she grows to accept this version of the Doctor and sacrifices herself for him. Although, for the audience to see and understand her character, they have to look at her later episodes, such as The Impossible Astronaut. As in the episode, she mentions how when she first met the Doctor, he knew all about her, and that she lives for the days when she sees him, but is terrified for the day he will have no idea who she is, and she thinks it will kill her. This piece of writing is amazing, as you get to understand what River went through her whole life and how much she cares for the Doctor, and can really put the audience in her shoes for Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, as him not knowing her quite literally kills her. The resolution to her character mainly takes part over the Husbands of River song and Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. In the Husbands of River song, the Doctor meets River for what we know is the last time. They have a fun adventure together as River doesn't recognize his new face and takes him along as her companion and steals his TARDIS without knowing that he is right there, which let him do his own reaction to the TARDIS being bigger on the inside. They go to a spaceship to sell a diamond that is stuck in the head of King Hydroflax, but end up getting captured by the King's robot body. The body wants a new head and gets the help of Fleming, who thinks the Doctor would be a great candidate as the new head, which leads them to putting River in danger, as they believe he will always come to protect her, which she believes isn't true, and thinks that their love is only one-sided, but little does she know that he is standing right behind her. The writing in this scene shows how far she has come as a character, and instead of relying on the Doctor for help and searching for him, she deals with it by herself, as she has gotten used to it, and doesn't rely on the Doctor as much because every time they meet, they know each other less and less. They escape and end up on Beryllium, which is mentioned all the way back in Forest of the Dead, right before she dies, as she mentions the last night they spent together is on Beryllium, meaning that the Doctor knows that this is the last time he will see her, and he needs to treasure the night on Beryllium they spent together that lasts 24 years. On Beryllium, the Doctor also gives her the sonic screwdriver she has in Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, which ends up saving her life, once again creating a paradox, as he wouldn't have given her one if he didn't know she was going to die in the library. The way Stephen Moffat writes her character is very consistent, as he's the only person who writes for her character, and in every one of her episodes there is some reference to Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Since Stephen Moffat is the only writer for her character, there are a couple of lines she is known for, such as
"Hello, sweetie,"
or
spoilers,
which in the episode The Husbands of River song are switched around, as the Doctor is the one to say both of those lines. There's also another line they use a bit, which is shared across both River and the Doctor, being
hate you. No, you don't.
Which is seen in only a couple of episodes, but also seen in Forest of the Dead, although it is said a bit differently.
I hate you sometimes! I know!
Showing that their relationship is very different at this point, as he had never met her before. Stephen Moffat's writing in Doctor Who always comes around in some way, which is especially seen in the episode Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, as it both introduces new storylines and closes other ones that are still yet to begin. These episodes use all of his main themes and does it without making it so obvious, while introducing a character that would remain a mystery for 2 more seasons. Other Moffat episodes don't do this, and may still be a good episode, such as Blink or The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, but they aren't my favourite, as they don't incorporate as many characters and develop them in the same way, such as River Song.